coronavirus looms large in Cameroon as more and more Cameroonians continue to bypass the barrier measures, especially in the public space. 20 megawatts of electricity injected into the North Interconnected Network to boost energy supply in the 3 northern regions of the country. Cameroonian striker Vincent Aboubakar sparkles in the Turkish Football League, scoring 6 goals in 4 matches with his club and his country. Those are our lead stories. Hello and welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Ben Menopofong.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
Public health officials are categorical about it. COVID-19 barrier measures are being undermined across the country, particularly in the school milieu and in the public space. Yet, health authorities are warning of a second and even more deadly wave in the making. Beatrice Law Samba reports that there is an urgent need to shift mindsets and strictly comply with the barrier measures.
As free as birds, they respect no barrier measures once out of class.
We tried the first week to send the junior one outside. When you send the junior one outside, they disturb other people in the class. Then we could do the best that we could do by saying that all of them will come out, but we, the teachers, will supervise the way they are moving around.
A major setback to COVID-19 control measures are fixed at the start of the school year.
From the first day, we had seat baskets. Maybe when the children are, they are booking all of them.
School administrations that lose control over respect of barrier measures.
The children were having masses. Those who don't have, we try and give them. For about 3 weeks, we cannot find them again. We find them flying all over the school.
True for most schools, 2 months into the new school year. Like a jungle, COVID-19 rules no longer apply in the streets. Small risks have become acceptable.
I'm relaxed because I didn't have it on me. So I also feel like others, but I insist that corona exists.
Administrative offices stick to applying strategies to keep the workforce safe, but behaviors no longer match intentions. Ignoring risks of COVID-19, it is said, is a harmful health choice. It brings another wave of the disease closer.
The dilemma of dealing with COVID-19 is that some people rather recover from the pandemic but remain patients from other diseases caused by the same pandemic, most of them being complications. But hope is not lost for these categories of patients. For the medical practitioners, say counseling can lead them through. Beatrice Ngum spoke to some health experts on how these side effects can be managed and compiled the following report.
In this office of the Jamoo Hospital in Yaoundé, hundreds have been consulted by this health practitioner since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. This physician, specialized in lungs and respiratory tract diseases, has worked on infected patients, and today she has a new breed of patients, cases that recovered from COVID-19 but now have other complications.
We have observed that some of them have cough, persistent cough, difficult of breath, and pericarditis, don't smell very well.
Others suffer from stress and psychological problems, she adds. However, patients with complications that emanate from COVID-19 receive counseling on how to live with the side effects.
If your immunity is weak, it will be easy for the infection to destroy you again. But if your immunity is in force, I think our organism can fight.
Psychologists, she says, provide them with psychosocial assistance, while other medics advise such cases to adopt a healthy lifestyle.
It is being traded as a quick answer to the high cost of road construction in Cameroon. And that quick answer is the local local production of bitumen and crushing facility for the production and fabrication of these vital road construction inputs. Though the project is yet to kick off, it nonetheless has potential of curbing costs and creating jobs for Cameroonians. Clarissa Ray-Takang now tells us how this idea has evolved thus far.
Outrageous, ridiculous, and scandalous. The adjectives to describe the cost of roads in Cameroon rival each other to express unbelief at the price of a kilometer. Observers insist that local alternatives are the key to cutting down on the zeros. Building a bitumen plant and a crushing facility are tagged as solutions.
We can also join in financing alternative methods to bring down costs of road production, such that stones can be produced, sand can be produced. If all this material is produced, then we'll not only be tarring roads, we'll be doing concrete roads, which are stronger.
Since the project was conceived, sources from the Ministry of Public Works revealed that the process to award the public contract is in progress. The existence of these structures is expected to have a noticeable impact on the price of aggregates which go into road construction, but that's not all.
We have agreed to make available alternative material to power our road in the country. I have requested the private sector to invest in that by creating companies to fabricate those alternative materials.
A good idea, granted, but engineers still have to deal with getting all the necessary materials in sufficient quantities. This notwithstanding, though, with a bitumen plant and a crushing facility on home soil, road construction in Cameroon is expected to take on a new and less expensive turn.
4 members of government have defended the 2021 budgetary allocations before the Committee on Finance and Budget of the National Assembly. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, with over 124 billion CFA francs, livestock, fisheries and animal husbandry with 41.5 billion, trade with 7.9, while environment and nature protection with 6.3 billion CFA francs. Esther Kima reports on the priority areas of the 4 ministries as presented by your various ministers.
Promoting the Made in Cameroon brand and opening the Cameroonian markets to over 1.2 billion consumers through the effective implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area are possible with 7.9 billion CFA francs.
The new year will be the year of the revitalization of multilateralism. And the second point is the operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which means a large African open market for our products.
In housing and urban developments, 59.3 billion of the 128.8 billion allotted in 2021 will be dedicated to improving urban mobility and infrastructure maintenance.
We'll continue addressing the housing issue. We'll continue achieving all the programs concerning Shan and Can. We'll finalize autoroute highway Yaoundé Simalen.
At the level of livestock, fisheries and animal industries, where the budget has been increased by 12 billion as compared to 2020, stepping up animal production and checking animal diseases will be priorities of the 41.5 billion.
To improve livestock production, fishery production, because we are importing a lot of fish.
Meantime, combating desertification and climate change, encouraging the sustainable management of biodiversity and implementing the National Environmental Plan are envisaged in 2021.
First, we have to combat desertification. We have climate change, and we have a duty to conserve biodiversity and pollution too.
The ministry's 6.3 billion will also ensure institutional support to the subsector.
23 generators are being transferred from the Ahala thermal power plant to the 3 northern regions of Cameroon in order to resolve the energy deficit in that part of the country. The present energy deficit ranges from 20 to 25 megawatts out of the 202 megawatts needed. The Minister of Water and Energy, Gaston Elundu-Esomba, was at the Ahala thermal power station for this Tuesday's ceremony to see the generators move to the northern regions. Ewane Epole was our eyes and ears out there.
Preliminary measures being taken by government to address the disturbing energy deficit in the 3 northern regions, the Minister of Water and Energy, Gaston Elundu-Esomba, says is by transferring 23 generators from the Ahala thermal power plant to Ngaundere and Jambutu in Garua.
Lack of water in Lagdo dams, so you cannot produce enough energy. So you have an important deficit of about 25 megawatts.
8 generators will be installed in Ngaundere and 12 in Garua, expected to cover the energy deficit, which range from 20 to 25 megawatts, and will also boost the energy supply to 102 megawatts needed, with 3 reserve generators. While at the Ahala thermal power station to witness the departure of the generators, the minister assured the populations of the 3 northern regions that the electricity shortage will be resolved in the month of January 2021.
52 Cameroonian migrants have been flown back home together with 23 others from some other African countries. The 75 touched down at the Yaoundé International Airport today, being part of a joint effort of the International Organization for Migration, the European Union and the Cameroon government. Charles Ebune reports.
Taxed at the tarmac of the Yaoundé International Airport is an Air Algerian aircraft. Amongst its passengers are 75 migrants, 52 Cameroonians, and 23 others from other nationalities.
This is the first time that we have a direct flight from Algeria, which means that, of course, is a good sign, in terms of respect of dignity of migrants.
Theirs is a voluntary return, jointly organized by the International Organization for Migration and the European Union in collaboration with the government of Cameroon.
We already facilitate through the financial support of European Union more than 4,400 migrants.
At the Yaoundé International Airport, they administered the necessary protocol imposed by COVID-19.
We continue to help all those who are in a very difficult situation in the transit countries.
This is just one of the latest voluntary returns of migrants jointly organized by the European Union, the International Organization for Migration, and Cameroon.
A 24-year-old student has brutally murdered the Secretary General of the Ngoro Council and assaulted several other people in the Mbam-Kim and Fundi divisions of the Central region. The National Gendarmerie presented the murderer to the public today before handing him over to the competent judicial authorities. Details with Kilianda Ndifon.
He is only 24 years old, holder of Préparatoire F4 in the French subsystem, a certificate that permits students of the system to qualify for baccalaureate equivalent of the GCE A-level in the English subsystem. He murdered the Secretary General of the Ngoro Council in the Mbam-Kim division, Central region. 3 days earlier, he assaulted a lady in the Itukebe neighborhood in Yaoundé. All of this under the influence of drugs.
When we searched the surroundings of the second victim's house, we found a bag full of such drugs. So I can assure you that he was under the influence of such substances.
The suspect was presented to the inhabitants of the Gendarmerie Company of Yaoundé 2, who are still to come to terms with such a heinous act.
On a similar note, police in the West region have arrested an Indian hemp cultivator and his farm razed to ashes. The 30-year-old drug farmer was also accused of the theft of birds from a poultry from the Bamenju region in the West region. He is currently under detention at the Bamenju police station. The annual cultural jamboree of the Sawa people, the Gondo Festival, breaks away from tradition, and instead of taking place on the first Sunday of December, it will now hold on the second Sunday. And this due to the regional elections that coincide with the customary date. But this has not deterred the preparations for the cultural events that takes place in the nation's economic capital. Bitmia Atabara reports from CRTV Littoral.
The annual cultural festival for the Sawa people known as Ngondo will exceptionally hold on the 13th of December 2020 under the theme Exaltation to the Youths.
Ngondo is a cultural festival. You have many phases of that festival.
Ngondo 2020 cannot be observed without focusing on religion.
We are people of water, and we have a very tight link with what we call Mami Wata.
Only cultural rituals will be carried out during this festival.
We have our mystic canoe, and the man who is going deep in the sea, in the Vori, in order to come out with a message of our ancestors.
So far, no major challenge has been recorded to stop the Ngondo festival. All is set come December 13th.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
Health practitioners in Cameroon have vowed not to relent in their efforts to fight back COVID-19 and limit its spread in Cameroon. The commitment is coming against the backdrop of a laxity in the observance of COVID-19 barrier measures, which is threatening to make a bad situation even worse for the country. Let's now join Baldwin Sama and his guest, Dr. Eric Tandy, as they make an evaluation of the COVID-19 outbreak 9 months after. Good evening, Godwin.
Good evening to you, Ben Menopufong. I should say it hasn't been an easy task for health professionals in the country for the last 9 months having to deal with the coronavirus. The spread of the coronavirus in the country, and what may just be the challenges faced by these health professionals in Cameroon for the last 9 months. We discuss that tonight with our guest, Dr. Eric Tandy, a public health expert. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
What have been the main challenges faced by health professionals since the first case was confirmed in Cameroon since March this year?
Yeah, one of the most challenges have always been to contain the virus spread within the country. And again, as you have noticed, the most challenge these days is the practice of barrier measures. And with the absence of the population practicing these barrier measures, it has cost us a lot. That is why, or that is the reason we are still experiencing more than 800 active cases within our communities due to the absence of the respect for barrier measures.
And with this possibility of the country embracing a second wave for this pandemic, how ready is the health sector to be able to manage a possibility of this second wave?
Yeah, but not to go to the aspect of the second wave. We've been prepared ever since. The measures are still in place. Response measures are still in place in all the various districts. Ever since the decentralization in the various districts, as far as the management of COVID is concerned, we have not relented the effort. I mean, the government of Cameroon has never relented the effort or relaxed any measures. And again, at our points of entry, measures have been strengthened, you know. In the few days to come, we will now activate the convention with an organization, Meditex. There they will come in with more technology as far as to control all those who are coming in. As we've noticed a lot of fake results within our community, the population has to take note and respect barrier measures, which is the most important.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eric Tandy. 9 months after the sensitization continues nationwide, Cameroonians must respect all these barrier measures so that together, as one, we limit the spread of this deadly virus in Cameroon. Back to you, Ben Menopufo.
Thank you very much, Baldwin. And the answer, as you say, is strict respect and strict compliance with the barrier measures. See you tomorrow. In news out of Cameroon, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed says the capital of the northern region of Tigray is now fully under the control of the government forces. This development follows weeks of fighting between government and regional troops as a result of a crisis between the central government and leaders of the Tigray region. Ebenezer Akanga has been monitoring the situation in the Tigray region and now reports.
The crisis in Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray sparked off from reforms introduced by Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, but which leaders of Tigray saw as an attempt to centralize power and destroy Ethiopia's federal system. The tension came to a head when in September 2020, Tigray defied the central government to hold its own regional election. As tension raged on, the central government accused regional forces in Tigray of attacking an army base to steal weapons. With this development, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed declared that Tigray had crossed the red line and launched what he called a military law enforcement operation on November 4.
Mr. Abiy Ahmed, as the Prime Minister, which is in the federal government, made use of the tools the government has to face the crisis. Accepting the presence of the international community means the state is a failure. The state is fragile.
After weeks of bombarding the capital of Tigray, the Prime Minister, who described the crisis as an internal matter, has announced that the capital is now under the control of federal forces.
The Yaoundé-based International Institute of Insurance has graduated some 62 students who successfully went through 2 years of intensive training. They constitute the 24th and the 14th batches of trainees of the institution. Finance Minister Louis-Paul Motaze chaired the ceremony, which also saw the decoration of deserving workers of the institution with labor medals. Lekiate Gertrude Asongazi reports from CRTV Center.
The 62 students at the International Institute for Insurance from 13 African countries have been trained as insurance experts. Gabonese-born Toko Ekola Trésor Emi was crowned the overall best student with 17 average.
I'm very happy to this gratification. I dedicate this diplomat to my country, Gabon.
The dual ceremony at the institution equally saw the award of medals to some deserving workers. Speaking during the graduation ceremony, the managing director of IIA, Mr. Urban Philippe Anjanon, urged the graduates to reinforce the sector in their respective countries. He seized the occasion to thank the government of Cameroon for taking the lead with the other 13 member countries in the realization of the permanent building of IIA in Yaoundé.
I would like to congratulate all those people, all the batch that have been awarded the diplomas today, and to give them the advice that it's a new life that is beginning. It's a new life. They are no more in school. They are now on the field, and as somebody has said, they can work in some enterprises that already exist, but they can create their own enterprises, and we need that in Africa. You know, this is the problem we are having in Africa. the unemployment. And we hope that they are going to make an effort to help all the governments of the different countries to solve this problem.
The International Institute of Insurance, IIA, was created some 47 years ago to train insurance experts in 14 French-speaking African countries.
Administrative authorities of the North region have been invited to scale up security and vigilance ahead of the December 6 regional polls. Territorial Administration boss Paul Atanganji made the call in Garoua today while chairing a security meeting in the North regional capital. He also, as Constantine Pombom reports, the minister equally outlined some measures to keep the commercial motorbike sector that has been infiltrated by criminals safe.
This North Regional Conclave is to evaluate the security situation of the region as it gets ready for the upcoming regional election. Minister Paul Athanganji transmitted the head of state's special appreciation to the local administrators for a job well done in preserving peace in the region. However, more needs to be done to ensure that the regional election runs hitch-free.
We have to accompany ELECAM and give all their structures adequate security measures so that the forthcoming elections will be carried out in a serene atmosphere. We'll have to discuss about other security challenges, organized crime, kidnapping against ransom, and we'll have to discuss about activities of motorbike riders.
The most challenging security situation comes from the commercial motorbike sector that the minister believes must be organized.
You must have a jacket which clearly puts your name and your number. So at a distance, the policeman or the gendarme can identify that this motorbike rider is coming from this subdivision. These are his identification papers.
The security meeting will also look into acts of complicity between kidnappers, cattle theft, and members of the public, as such acts have to come to an end. The meeting was attended by all the senior division officers of the North region and the regional security and defense forces.
Cameroonian striker Vincent Aboubakar has now scored 6 goals in 4 games for club and country. The 28-year-old netted twice to help his club Besiktas win a super clash in the Turkish league yesterday. Other Cameroonians were also on the shining spree over the weekend, as we hear in this report with Daniel Ekande.
Few weeks after netting 3 goals in Cameroon's double-header against Mozambique, Vincent Aboubakar returned to a form he once demonstrated. The Cameroon striker scored twice inside 20 minutes to help Besiktas win a Super League clash against Fenerbahce in Turkey. Aboubakar's double earned Besiktas a 4-3 win, which takes them 4th on the Turkish league table. He has now scored 6 goals in 4 games for club and country. Compatriot Jean-Amel Kanabik also inspired Gaziantep FK to a 2-2 draw against Yeni Malatyaspor. In Switzerland, Jean-Pierre Samé continued his impressive showing by confirming Young Boys' emphatic 3-1 victory against Lausanne. The 87th minute goal is the second straight netting for the striker, whose lone effort on Thursday gave Young Boys a win in the Europa League.
In other sports news, the new president of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa, OSMA, Brigadier General Maikano Abdullahi, has assumed office with a challenge to use his long-standing experience to overcome some of the challenges that are facing the organization. The new OSMA bus was installed in Yaoundé today by Cameroon's defense boss, Joseph Betia Sama, at the Yaoundé head office of the organization. Baldwin Sama reports.
He appends his signature on OSMA official documents, kickstarting a 4-year mandate at the helm of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa. Brigadier General Maikano Abdullahi was raised to the rank of Grand Cordon of Merit of Military Sports in Africa by the Minister Delegate at the Presidency of the Republic in charge of defense. He promised to work with all and sundry to overcome the challenges facing military sports in Africa.
I want to make sure that our working condition here, our staff, we are of the international standard.
We want to bring soldiers on the field of sports to build brotherhood, friendship, and understanding, of course, above all, peace.
While installing the 55-year-old, Defense Minister Joseph Betty Asomo called on him to put his rich experience at the service of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa. The new OSMA boss is a graduate of the Ahmadu Bello University in Nigeria, where he studied military sports and sports management.
News on the Cameroon Radio Television. That's the way it was. Thanks for watching.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.